Hello everyone, welcome to the first of my videos for the RMI Fusion site. I'm Malc. Today we'll be looking at the classic PlayStation 1 game, Die Hard Trilogy. This game came out in 1996 and is split into three gameplay styles based on the three different Die Hard movies. Right, without further ado, let's start off with the first one, Die Hard. Die Hard is a third-person 3D shooter based on the first Die Hard movie. Now, for anyone who hasn't seen the first Die Hard movie, the movie came out in 1988 and was written by Steve Zucca, and it was based on the 1979 book Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Fromp, who I've never actually heard of. It's basically about an off-duty New York police officer called John McClane, who's played by Bruce Willis in the movie. Now he gets invited by accident to his sort of estranged wife's party that's set in Nakatomi Plaza, which is a big building in Empire City. He's out of his jurisdiction and the whole thing kicks off and terrorists try taking over the building, and they don't know he's there, and he basically goes around and takes out the terrorists. Now it's a classic action film, probably one of the best of its sort. I'd definitely recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it. And this game does stay quite close to the original film, but does take some liberties. In the original movie, John McClane is on, I think, the 31st floor. I'm not 100% sure, I might be wrong about the number of the floor, when it all kicks off, and he accidentally discovers what's happening, and then he has to go to the roof and, you know, radio in for help. And because they haven't heard any demands from the terrorists, they don't believe him at first, but they send a police car anyway, and then they find out that it is real. Anyway, in this game you start off bizarrely outside in the car park and work your way up the building. The game's quite simple. You have to kill all the terrorists, and then when you've killed them all and rescued the hostages, there'll be a bomb somewhere on that level that you have to find. Collecting a bomb will detonate, stop it detonating, and then you're on to the next level and you go all the way up the building. It's got many floors. I'm not 100% how many, it's been a while since I've actually played this game to completion, but I did complete it back in the day. And it's a really fun game to play. The graphics might be slightly dated now, and the controls are not great, but it's definitely worth checking out. I'd recommend it. I think Probe did a really good job getting in the license for the Die Hard trilogy and doing these game adaptations of the movies. Basically, it's probably one of the best games on the PlayStation 1. Now, years later it was ported to the PC and the Sega Saturn, but at the time the PC hardware wasn't really good enough to run a game like this, so it was obviously cut down, and same with the Saturn's version. The PlayStation version is definitely the superior out of three. Anyway, after I finish this level, I'll move on to Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Stay with me. Yippie Ki Yay! Supposed to stay in your seats until the plane reaches the terminal.
here's the second game, Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Not my day.
For those who haven't seen the film, Die Hard 2 came out in 1990. And John McClane returns. This time, he's going to the airport to meet his wife, who's flying in from Los Angeles. But terrorists have taken over the airport, taken over their control centre, that stops the planes from landing. Now, this again is based on another novel, which is written by Walter Wagner, never heard of him neither, called 58 Minutes. Another good book, I would imagine. I've never read it. I don't read a lot of books, to be fair. And again, the screenplay was written by Steve Zuzuka, same guy, believe it or not, who did the complete shit Street Fighter movie. So, I mean, if he's written Die Hard 1, he's written Die Hard 2, you'd imagine it'd be great to write something like the Street Fighter, but obviously not. Anyway, the film is a great film, definitely worth checking out, a solid sequel without a doubt. Don't know why it gets so much, like, you know, slack off people saying it's the worst out of the Die Hard films. Obviously they haven't seen the later movies anyway, but because this is about the first three based on, you know, these game adaptations of them. This game is basically a shooter. It works with a light gun on the PlayStation, the Konami Blaster light gun I think it's called, or the Enforcer, something like that, but doesn't work with a gun con. Why that is I do not know. I think it was one of the first sort of light gun games. Anyway, I played the demo, had it on the PlayStation magazine, and I was really impressed. It made me want to go out and buy the game. Really good shooter, you know, can't fault it at all. It's got so many levels that sort of follow the storyline of the film. And the good thing about this, you can destroy all the backgrounds. You get lots of different power-ups, grenades, rocket launchers, double Berettas, shotguns, machine guns. I mean, you name it. It plays really well. I don't think it's aged too greatly. I mean, the graphics aren't that good now. That's the thing with these 3D games. They don't age all that well graphically, because these 2D ones do for some reason. But again, I mean, it's a decent game, a solid shooter, plays really well on a joypad, believe it or not, and these games usually don't, you know, when you control the crosshair. Definitely worth checking out, and a good adaptation of the film. I mean, obviously, the film doesn't have as much shooting scenes as this. Anyone would think, if they hadn't seen the film and just played this game, the film's directed by John Woo. It's got so much shootouts in this game, but it's a solid game. Really worth checking out, really fun. Can't really fault it. Anyway, we'll be moving on to the third in the Die Hard trilogy and the last game, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yippie Ki Yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yippie Ki Yay! Right, buckle left up here. Right up here. No, please, no! Right, buckle up. Someone give me some aspirin. Right up here.
Now on to the final game in the series, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Now, the movie Die Hard with a Vengeance came out in 1995, and the story goes, John McClane is now almost a full-blown alcoholic and is suspended from the NYPD. But when a bomb goes off in Bonewit Teller department store, the police go insane trying to figure out what's going on. Soon, a man named Simon phones and asking for McClane. Simon tells Inspector Walter Cobb that McLean is going to play a game called Simon Says. He says that McLean is going to do the tasks he assigns him. If not, he'll set off another bomb. With the help of a Harlem electrician, John McClane must race all over New York trying to figure out the frustrating puzzles that the crafty terrorists give him. But when a bomb goes off in a subway station right before the Federal Reserve, the biggest gold storage in the world, things start to get heated up, and McClane realises that it's all a scam. Anyway, the game is based on this movie, but in this game you drive a taxi and you have a certain amount of time to get to the certain bombs before they detonate. It's a very fun game. It's got some nice touches, like when you've got the in-car view, if you run pedestrians over, the blood sprays up all over the screen and then the wipers go on to wipe the blood out of the way. So it's not a game that should be taken that seriously, but it is great fun nevertheless. It's the hardest of the 3 games, but I'd still recommend you check it out. It's good fun. Definitely worth your time. So in conclusion, all 3 games are very good. These sort of games, with 3 games in one, don't usually work, but Probe done a superb job. Now the pros are, it's 3 games in one. The light gun game is excellent, one of the best light gun shooters probably on the PlayStation, and it has superb sound effects. The cons are, the graphics do look quite bad in places because they haven't aged all that greatly, as with most of these 3D sort of games, and it has occasional slowdown in all the games, but nothing that will put you off playing them. Anyway, I'd give this a solid 5 out of 5. Definitely worth your time and worth checking out if you haven't played it. Anyway, that's enough from me. More videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yippie Ki Yay, Mr. Falcon.